Hustleshare podcast is sponsored by Lark, the leading super app for work in Southeast Asia. Frustrated with juggling and paying for multiple tools for work? Hate mixing personal and business messages? Improve your team's productivity by 10 times with Lark, which combines business chat, email, video conferencing, calendar, project management, real-time translation, and much more into one super app. Trusted by companies like Xiaomi, Glints, Kumu, and Mama Lou's. Get it for free at larksuite.com today. And also by Uno Digital Bank, a full-spectrum digital bank, licensed and regulated by the BSP. Manage your money and maximize its potential growth with a secure and trusted bank that fits right in your pocket. Open a savings or time deposit account, pay bills, shop with the Uno Virtual Debit MasterCard, or apply for a loan in the Uno mobile app today. This podcast is brought to you by Salmon, your trusted source for all your financial needs. Whether you're looking for easy financing with low down payments and fast approval, or seeking high returns with their 8.88% interest on time deposits, Salmon has you covered. Visit salmon.ph today and discover how they can help you achieve your financial goals. Rural Bank of Santa Rosa Laguna Incorporated is regulated by the BSP. For any concerns, email consumeraffairs@bsp.gov.ph. Deposits are insured by PDIC up to 500,000 pesos per depositor.
And the other trend that we saw, and a trend/challenge, was that as much as we brought ambassadors, generative AI back to their businesses, to their organizations, right? The challenge there was that sometimes these delegates, these students, don't have as much influence to enforce such change back in their organization.
Maybe they'll be a founder like Bianca Azurin.
They would be frustrated with the system and just build something else themselves.
Welcome to Hustleshare, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Betyong.
Welcome to the latest episode of Hustleshare Podcast. We finally got this woman, and I hope I was hoping that Miggy Boy was here too. But before we get carried away, I just want to say how extremely proud I am for two things. First off, she is a second generation founder. Again, the offspring of the late great Jerry Cruz. Obviously, the same way her husband is the offspring of my startup dad, Sir George Azurin. These guys are now finishers. One of the select few. Welcome to the club, guys. There's a responsibility to it. But the second thing is because you are from here. You're a true Tambunting entrepreneur who also comes from the same college that I come from, UST College of Commerce, the tapunan of the the tapunan of the whole. We made it. But again, without getting carried away, let's welcome to the show, Miss Bianca Cruz Azurin of 10X Me Academy. Whoop, whoop. Welcome to the show, Bianx, and congratulations.
Thanks, Ron. It's
Okay.
surreal.
Yep.
Surreal to finally be here.
Yep,
Wow.
It's not surreal. Well deserved. I've been knocking on this damn door for a while, right? But we had to wait for the final moment because if you are hiding under a rock, these guys have just literally exited and sold their company 10X Me to YGG. A shout out to Gabby, Beryl, Mensch, and the Owl. Still, I don't even know who the Owl is. They had them in 2021. Like, who the hell is the Owl? But again, congratulations. You're now one of us, the Exiters. How does it feel?
Thank you. It's great. It's surreal. A lot of spotlight at looking at us, no, but the work doesn't stop. It's just a nice milestone to hit, and then we move on and hustle pa rin.
All right. Sounds good. And again, this is not an accident. You've paid your dues. For a long time, I've seen you guys hustle. You guys have been here forever. And just like, most of us, we came from very, very humble beginnings, but I knew one way or another, you guys are going to make it because there's only probably a handful of power couples in the startup ecosystem, and that Azurin Cruz marriage is just like a match made in heaven because I've seen how your dads have done it. But before I get carried away, Bianca, I need to ask you the $1,000,000 question. Bianca, what's your hustle?
Oh my gosh, sorry na starstruck ako. I'm finally answering this question. My hustle, my hustle is helping people get ready for the future of work in a variety of ways, mainly through education and matching them with opportunity.
There you go. What sounds like an answer from an exeter talaga. I love it. But again, that's just the overarching story because you guys have paid your dues a long time ago from Acceler8 and all these things, but we need to go all the way back. I wish Mickey was here to tell his story because, man, but again, you can take tidbits and whatnot because we need you to buckle up real quick. We're going to go for a hell of a ride and go all the way back to how you guys started at 10X Me because we're going to have to ride the Hustleshare time machine. All right. And we're all the way back. Of course, we all know where this is going to end. And I'm just super proud of you guys. And incredibly, I'm pretty sure Jerry and Sir Georgie are just smiling endlessly in heaven. How was it growing up? You guys are both second generation startup founders. You were obviously the product of these amazing founders themselves. But what was it like growing up, and how did you experience hustling or see hustling at the forefront of your lives?
Sure. So I had a very well-rounded childhood, and I'd say I have a sibling, and the two of us we were really exposed to computers as early as when Mac first launched the personal computer. So that was something that's been in our house for a while. And growing up, my dad is actually a licensed real estate broker. So he does a lot of commercial and residential sales before he went into startups. So it was kind of odd when I realized that the working style of my dad was not how other people's parents work. So he worked primarily from home. One of our rooms was an office. Okay. And that's where he started up that real estate firm that he had. And that put us through school, a really good school. And so it was kind of odd for me to, looking back, realize that he was working from home in the 90s, early 2000s, even before tech startups were a thing. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that because I got to be around my dad a lot. I learned a lot from him, and he exposed us to a lot of technology, right? So in my group of friends or in my batch, I'm always the first to kind of have a pocket PC or know what it was, right? Yung mga ganun na cellular data. So I'd consider myself to be one of the techie ones. And when the tech startup started going off, right? Facebook, Airbnb, all of these ride-sharing things. It was something that my dad also got into at the time. So he moved his love from real estate to tech startups. And some of the things that he really wanted to look into was how do you digitize the real estate industry, which was, from my experience and from all of the things that I've seen him done, right? It's very manual paperwork. So there was a lot of interest there, and that's how he got into tech startups. For me, it was really that exposure, right? I was still in college at the time. I was taking up my degree in entrepreneurship, and that's where I met you, actually. Do you remember that story? You went to UST with Idea Space.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was in awe because Podmachine is a startup founder. At the time, it was Guestless PH. Yep. So it gave me kind of an idea of what trajectory I can have moving forward after I graduate, right? Because I really knew that I didn't want to be in corporate. The most corporate probably that I would do would be real estate. And even at that, it was it had a lot more freedom than most careers. Yun, right. So I've always been exposed to tech startups in that sense. And when I graduated, I knew that corporate was out of the picture. I found Acceler8, which is the perfect intersection of real
Yep.
estate, my love for real estate, and also just being in the space where startups are incubated, learning the ropes from different people. And that's where also I learned more about crypto and blockchain because of blockchain space. Peter Ing, it was the hub at the time for all of the crypto meetups in the Philippines. Fast forward to a few years later, I set up 2 more Acceler8 offices, coworking spaces here in the Philippines. We won a couple of awards. We got a partnership with some of the bigger bigger developers in the Philippines like Ayala and Finma. We were able to work with them. Fast forward, I decided to jump more directly into tech startups. So I went into SaaS and worked for Moneybees, a local crypto exchange here.
Another
to head their
Mamao,
business.
by the way.
Yeah.
I need to
Yes,
get him here. I was like, dude, you gotta be on the show. All right.
CJ.
Jay,
Yeah. So I work closely with the OGs of crypto and Moneybees. I led the business development. That was very interesting because they were solving a very unique problem for crypto, unlike, let's say, Binance or all of these other exchanges. They wanted to bring it OTC, over the counter talaga, physical stores. So I was part of the team that brought in the Tambunting partnership for them. So you can actually exchange crypto in pawn shops nearby.
Nice.
And then when I got married to Miggy, part of the marriage contract was that I quit my job and help him run Husky Digital, which is his marketing agency.
There was such a clause? What the hell, Miggy? Okay.
Part yun ng marriage contract namin.
The prenup?
So,
okay, the prenup.
Parang ganon. Family business na daw. So, okay.
Wow, that's amazing. But again, thanks for giving me an outline of what you've been through. But we're going to have to make really deliberate stops over that journey. First and foremost, again, we got to have to go to the roots, right? Jerry was such an amazing hustler. I mean, he's been hustling. He was doing remote work from home when work from home wasn't even a thing, right? But hustling or being founder like hustle is very rare when you see it, and when you see it, it leaves an indelible mark. What are the things that you remember your dad doing in terms of like hustling that you still carry on to this day? Because I saw this also with Sir Joji. Again, shout out to me, his dad. I consider my startup dad. And for those people who don't know, the reason why I do Hustleshare is because of Sir Joji. Because we had a bargain. The Azurins talaga, they like this bargain. They like, you do this, ha? If you don't do it. Sir Joji's bargain with me was, no, it's like, all right. Again, he asked me 2 questions. I'm still happy about it. And I was a student in USC. He's like, first question was, Ron, do you do drugs? No, sir, I don't do drugs. What the hell? I just look like an addict. But the second thing was the best gambit and the best trade-off. He said that if you ever become successful, don't pay me back, pay it forward. That was an Azurin contract. We just didn't sign it, but I held my word, and that's why I do Hustleshare. This is my word, and my bargain, which was I'm gonna pay it forward. But your dad, okay, let's talk about your dad and how he hustled, and what are those things that you saw him do when he was just doing work from home, and also the hustle that still is embedded with you now.
There's 2 main things that I still carry with me today from seeing my dad work. So the first one was, I'll start with the easier one. He is one of the most intelligent people I know talaga. He can get so curious about something, and he likes to share that a lot with the people around him.
Nice.
Okay. And then, so funny story, parang one of the last things that he was ahead of in terms of all of the news and trends, right? Yung COVID. As early as November, he was telling me na, Bianca, wear a mask to work kasi I was working in Acceler8, diba? So it was a space. Right. As in November pa lang, he sent me articles about it na, and I obviously, because he sends me a lot of articles, parang okay. but people don't wear masks at the time. Yun. But so that's just an anecdote. But ano talaga, he really loves to learn new things. He is able to kind of piece together trends, and that's why it was very interesting for him when he saw the rise of the ride sharing economy and all of this gig work, right? He was able to piece that back to how property can be digitized and how you can kind of crowdsource brokers and whatever in the real estate industry. So that's one. And the second one would be just the idea that you can get so much more from your time if you put in the work or work on commission or work on what's this term, success based na work rather than being an employee. And I see that because they were able, my mom and dad, they were able to put us to really good schools because of real estate and commissions, right? It's primarily driven by commissions. And secondly, a funny story related to that would be my mom and me, we would joke na my dad works like half the year lang. So he would just work enough so that we have enough to live comfortably, to have pang tuition, ganyan.
Right.
And then he could take his time for the rest, like spread out his time for the rest of the year. And it's funny kasi it's really a hustle, right? He knows now when it's time to make money. He really goes out there, finds leads, closes deals, and deliver.
Right.
But he knows now when there's enough naman in the bank, parang he can take a break, ganon. So that's two things I take away from his journey. But more than that, no, the second bit, I learned also that it's important not to just stop when you're comfortable. One thing na I want to be able to one up my dad on is just continue hustling even if life is already comfortable, because there's a bigger mission here, and I want to be able to leave more for the next generation that me and I will put together.
The Azurinskis, the Azurinsters, the baby Azurins as you go through. But again, super impressive. I love what you said, because as a founder, one of the things that you should always have, and each founder needs to have to go through this, if you're not able to learn things on your own fast and buck the trend, because if you're following a trend, you're too late, right? Because it's already like, oh god, you're now part of that long tail. If you're able to learn new things and then you're passionately sharing about this, eventually you'll crack it. You'll find a business model there. Then, oh my god, this is what we've been doing. Blah 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 blah. And that's what's impressive about what you guys have done as well. Now, Bianca, walk me through school. So again, I didn't remember that you took up entrep in UST.
I did.
Okay, so I want to zoom in on this because I love UST. I will die for UST. Okay, that's because I bled for UST in high school. I wear it proudly because there's not a lot of us, Bianca, right? But UST entrep, sadly till now, still teaches the traditional way of businesses. Now, the thanks to the likes of Sir Aban, who now brings people back and all that, but still, we're still miles away. But back when you were a student, the reason why I brought in Idea Space, I remember, and I think Sir Georgie was part of that. I can't remember, because I remember when I was STE. By the way, a little bit of a tidbit. STE became STE during my batch. There was before, Young Entrepreneur Society.
Yes.
And then we turned it into Society to Mashan Entrepreneurs, so that it's there. But it's also STE, because it sounds like STE. There you go. That was my effort to show that, guys, this is what I had to go through and go out of the freaking building because I couldn't get it inside. And my objective every time I go back, that's why I keep going back, is if I can inspire one random soul here to become a founder, I would have done my job. And that was yes, it was worth it. And she hesitated pa. My God, full pay it forward. Bianca Azurin, there you go. But
invite din nila ako.
Oh, no, you should. I'll tell you. This is a commitment. They should. Okay, I'll tell Sir Aban. Okay, there you go. Bianca, what was that like in Entrep, and how did you even pick up anything? And what when you did that little exercise with Idea Space with Diane, what was it like?
Okay, so backstory on why I chose UST. Going back to my dad again, he bleeds green. He's
Hala.
Lasal all the way.
Mhm.
I almost got, what do you call this? Muntik na niya akong i-disown. When I said I wanted to go to UST. I passed Lasal, I passed CSB. But at the time, a big part of my life, apart from tech and being different in that way, was volleyball. And I wanted to play in the UAAP. And to do that, you had to be in a university. So
Course.
CSB was offering me, but NCAA yun, so ekis na. And then I tried out in
Nothing against
Lasal.
NCR. They're pretty good, but you up is you up.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, UAP is UAP. So I tried out in LaSalle and they accommodated me, but for a volleyball player, I'm still short. So for the position I wanted, I was short. And then
What
I
were you
tried
playing
out
before?
in open.
Open.
Or opposite.
Miggy, don't ever frustrate Bianca. When she makes you sampal, it's gonna leave a mark. Okay?
We have, he has experienced that for
Okay.
fun. Like, napalo ko lang siya for fun.
Even how
Nasobrahan.
much borta you are, Miggy, it's still gonna hurt. Okay?
Yeah. And so, the next one was UST and they gave me a scholarship, a sports scholarship. So I went there and I still got my business degree for my dad. And I think that's, at least for me, a business degree is the most useful pa rin. So I went into UST. What did I learn? I learned a couple things naman. Street smarts more, no? That's, I think, in any school or group that you get into, the most impactful things that you take away with you are all of the street smart and the Mitzcarte related stuff.
Yep.
It was, I would say it's still part of my formative years. I learned how to deal with rejection kasi si Sir Aban, he rejected my business idea. That was around 2013, 2014. I proposed to build a travel app and he didn't approve it.
Don't
He
worry.
didn't-
I went through the same thing, my Galiwawa, in 2009. Guest list that
Diba?
page.
It's like, how will you make money from that? Hindi pa uso yung subscription model for apps. How will you track that? So those were the concerns. And that's why a lot of entrepreneurship students, they set up stores nearby the campus, diba? 'Cause that's easy to track and you can say if it's legit because there's a brick and mortar store. That's a story for another time. I can talk about this all day, but
Yep.
I have to thank UST for giving me an education, right? Giving me a network that I can start with, and also thankful that I met you there through all of those kinds of exposure, right? So with Idea Space, I don't remember if Dad was there, Daddy Georgie, but I do remember Diane and you. And what stuck with me was that, of course, you were a Thumashan and you were solving a problem that was very unique to me, and it was part of the parang gig economy, right? You get access to bars when you sign up with guest list. So that was very unique to me. What I took away from that is the exercise of solving a problem and ideating how you can solve it with a business idea. That was a key thing for me, and I took that with me all throughout. So that was a really good experience. I didn't win. I still remember my batchmate that won. But part of his speech, and this is what I remember, was he was just happy that he showed up to that event. I think it wasn't a requirement. I don't think most of my blockmates attended, but I still remember that, and I still remember what you guys.
But look at you now. Look at you now. An exited Thomashan founder. But also, I forgot to tell you. I don't know if I ever got to tell you. I also met Sir Georgie in UST. He did a talk. So this is literally like I'm getting goosebumps.
Gosh.
I was entrep 2009. He was making a talk in UST High School, where I also went to high school, to talk about how to make money online. It wasn't even called startups yet. So again, this is the Georgie Azurin line of passing it forward. So now it's your turn, Bianca. Sir Aban, if you're listening to this, it's Bianca's turn now to pay it forward. But no, we need to get more. Because this is the magic of doing talks. Even if it can be repetitive every year, you'll never know. You'll never know who's in the crowd. Sir Georgie touched me. I don't know what I did, but it touched you. It works. but look at the good that it brings to the world. Okay, now Bianca, let's continue the story. So after college, I remember seeing you. The next time I saw you was Acceler8 in Paseo. There. And this is where I think you met Mr. Miggy Boy Azurin as well. We'll not talk about the landian that you guys did. Okay. But was that the first job right out of college? And why Acceler8?
It was my first job out of college. But even before that, I was working internships in sales, real estate. But it was my first job out of college. I was itching to find work right away. I always wanted to be productive. So I think I got that job 3 months after graduating. I was looking at a variety of things. So it was on my shortlist was always real estate, tech startups, and then Acceler8 was presented to me.
Right.
My gosh, I just remembered that journey again now. After working for 8 years, had to uncover that shortlist. Yeah.
Now, and when you did that, okay, our very first jobs are very formative in nature. And if you're lucky, it gives us a good experience, and then you build off of that. If you're unlucky, some of them, it's a luck. It's a matter of luck. You learn bad experience, and you still make the most out of it. But what did Acceler8 teach you? Because you stayed there for 5 years, 7 months.
5 years.
That built you as a woman. Okay, you were a baby girl to that, and it turned into a woman. What was that like? Because I remember from seeing you in Paseo to I remember I asked you for a favor. I interviewed Jomag in Acceler8 in Rockwell. It's like, wow, I needed a venue. It's like, ala, I did the Jomag episode in Acceler8 Rockwell in Pinma. I even did Angeli Dub, I think, in Rockwell as well. So what was that experience like, and what did it teach you? What did you learn in the Acceler8 hustle of your time?
I was very fortunate actually that I loved my first job. I'm very proud of being an alumni of Acceler8 and being employee number 1 there. But mostly, I'm very grateful to Miko and Carlo, the founders of Acceler8, because they were really the best first set of mentors outside college and in my first job, right? That you could rely on. They seem pretty chill, but I learned a lot of negotiating, business etiquette, sales-related strengths that I have now. I picked it up from learning from them and listening to them. And they really helped me hone my leadership skills. So looking back now, they were very patient with me as I was learning to be a good leader. And also, they gave me a lot of space to just really be that and run Acceler8. So most of the time I felt like I was running it and they were supporting me greatly, right? So that was a lot, and I am very grateful for the time I spent there and the opportunity that they gave me.
All right, sounds good. Now let's take our first break, and when we come back, we will now talk about your after Acceler8 hustle, because you went into the metaverse. Right after this, the crypto world right there, and never look back. We'll talk about that more after the break. Hey hustlers, money issues and financial stress are a reality we all face, and ignoring them won't make them disappear. That's why our sponsor Salmon is committed to making managing your finances easy and more accessible. With Salmon financing, you can shop to over 2,000 Salmon partner stores nationwide and bring home your dream purchases today with a low down payment starting at just 10%. Plus, it's super easy to apply. Just one valid ID is needed and you can get approved right then and there. No need to wait for payday. Just take what you need now and pay for it over time. And if you're someone that's looking for ways to grow your money, Salmon's time deposit accounts at the Rural Bank of Santa Rosa, Laguna, which is regulated by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, offers a fantastic 8.88% interest rate for a 12-month term for deposits of more than 500,000 pesos. That's currently the highest rate in the Philippines. Deposits are also insured by the PDIC with up to 500,000 pesos per depositor, so you know your money is safe and secure. It's definitely a great way to make your money work harder for you effortlessly. Since launching in 2022, Salmon has raised over $60 million and is backed by industry giants like the IFC, ADQ, and
North Star Group, ensuring they're a reliable partner in your financial journey. So whether you need financing, credit, or high-return savings option, Salmon has you covered. So visit salmon.ph today to see how they can help you achieve your financial goals with ease. Again, that's salmon.ph. Finance made easy with Salmon.
And we're back in the break. We are still with Bianca Cruz Azurin, who then told us the amazing origin story. Super duper proud of her. I will never get tired of saying how proud of you I am of you and also of me. Miggy, you are a brother to me forever. Even if you don't talk to me often, why the fuck are you not talking to me? Okay, no, I'm not gonna fight you. You're more Borta. You body slam me like that. Boom. Ouch. No, but again, I'm always rooting for you guys. You guys are family to me. You guys know it. But now I want to understand after Acceler8, because this is where I've seen you also like blossom nga into that leader. Na, you technically run the business already. But what led you to jump and want to take on your responsibilities?
Definitely. So I think as much as I love Acceler8 as my playground, as my working playground, I realized at one point that I wanted to grow and explore more outside of that. And I had an itch to really start working more closely with tech startups. So I left Acceler8 just after the height of the pandemic. I was still there trying to understand the landscape and see how we can survive. And thankfully we did, right? So we had 3 locations at the time. One of the locations I was able to get a tenant to take the whole space because they downsized and they needed just as much space as one of our smaller locations had.
Nice.
And we were able to survive that part. But after that, I really wanted to work in tech startups. I was actually thinking of going to Singapore to work for a tech startup with an HQ there. So maybe can tell you this story for when you interview him for his exit story. Manifesting another exit for Miggy. This is 10x me is both of us, right? But ayun nga, I'm the only one available today because he's still hustling on something else that hopefully will be just as successful and even more.
There you go.
So when at the time I was looking at working in Singapore for a tech startup, Miggy wanted to have get his MBA, and INSEAD had a campus in Singapore, so it made sense. But the pandemic happened, so we were thinking about it. 2019, it was put to a halt, and we decided to reassess our plan. And so I was looking for opportunities in tech. I found work with to lead partnerships with a SaaS company. That was a short, brief time only, just because I felt like I wasn't being useful enough because the plans weren't in place yet. The goals and plans were not ready yet for me to come into to really do anything, and the support was lacking back in that sense. And so I was going through my circles, and this is where Paul Pajo comes in. I was just putting it out there na isa pa yun eh. Everyone is connected to Paul Pajo, right?
Because everybody drinks, Paul Pajo drinks with everyone. There you go.
Yeah.
Don't get him too drunk. Okay, that's it.
So I approached him at the time saying that I was looking for opportunities. Maybe he had some startup recommendations for me, or he knew any openings. I told him I wanted to do something in BD or be like an entrepreneur in residence. So he referred me to Jay Villarante. And Jay leads Moneybees and Ticuna. He has he leads 8 ventures. So they have a group of companies under 8 ventures. 2 of those are Ticuna.
One of them lucky guys who got to crypto early and never looked back after that.
Not lucky. Early and smart about it.
I mean, early. Okay, my bad. Early and smart about it. Because I know these guys who are lifers who got very early, 2014, 2015. You're talking about Bitcoin, like, shit, I should have bought. Because I would have not been hustling this hard if I got that cushion that, BTC was in the hundreds of dollars. Oh my God. Him, the Luis Benaventuras of the world, Jason Torres of the world before. These guys just, man, it's a different life because they made the right bets early. Okay, so what did you learn about Jay? So again, this guy is an OG, but you said he's smart. and then early in the game. What did you learn from this amazing founder who also invested in other founders like Jay
He did.
of Secuna, Secuna pala, Secuna.
Secuna.
The AJ,
Yeah.
yeah, of Secuna. What was that experience like? Because now you've seen a lot of founders from Acceler8, but you're from the outside looking in as a landlady, the one who collects rent. Okay, but
Yeah.
working inside in a startup is different. What was that like?
What's interesting about Jay and the way he manages companies is that he has a very strong tech perspective. So that's why Sikuna, I first got introduced to Sikuna cybersecurity, and I learned a lot from Jay and AJ, the founder of Sikuna, at my time there. I at one point I was so paranoid about where I would log in and do, and yung mga opt-in na logins,
right?
Yeah, because like there would be vulnerabilities, and true enough, right? It came out now that your mobile number would be just shared with anyone. You don't know why you're getting all of these spam texts and all. And that's a story for I will connect back to later, right? For Tikuna. But with Jay, what's interesting about him is his tech background. And he has a very specific kind of do it, parang make it happen na attitude. So he's very relaxed most of the time. He's very chill, but he has his eyes on 1-2 specific things that he wants to deliver. And one of those things yun nga yung partnerships with Tambunting. He has a clear vision for where he wants to take the company, and I admire that about him at the time.
That's amazing. Now, okay, you got here, and then you were still running it till Feb 2023, right? Is this the time when the Miggy Azurin contract
yes.
kicked in?
Yeah. So we got married in Feb, and part of that was I needed to exit. I needed to leave. Moneybees na. Sorry, Jay.
Sorry. If there's one person that would have gone to the wedding and made tutol, it would have been Jay. Like, hi, I'm gonna lose Bianca because of this clause in your thing. But okay, I'm pretty sure there was an itch already, Bianca. Because you're not just gonna do it just because Mickey told you to do it. You're not a pushover like that. You've seen it from your dad, and that itch is like an allergy or a bad fungi will be passed on to your breath, to your kids. When did you start feeling the founder itch? And what was that like? Because also you've been cushioned by a nice salary in your past iterations.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, it's scary when you're the one who's gonna pay for it. When you're now in the role of a Jerry Cruz, where you're the one paying the bills. It's hard. But let's talk about the itch first. When did you start feeling the itch? And then what? I mean, of course, the wedding made you jump. But how did you kind of prepare to scratch those many itches that you're feeling?
It actually came to me, I think, as soon as when I left Acceler8. So at the time, it was presented to me, and this is me talking in hindsight, no? Parang at the time, it was presented to me that I wanted growth. I wanted to be part of something bigger. I wanted to be in tech, related to tech, right? And all of the intersection of everything that I believe in. So I worked at all of these startups, and I loved my time, no matter how short or how long I was there, right? But if you notice, after Acceler8, I have not stuck to a job for more than a year and a half. Right? I also did some consulting for tech startups to help with their business development and sales. But I really never stuck with one. And at the time, there were frustrations, right? Na I couldn't get my way. I was still working with some bureaucracy. I needed approvals from people. Ayan. So parang medyo di ba, may pagka-rebelde na.
Yeah. The rules they cannot box you in, because the box, the entrepreneurship is either you fit in, no, you cannot fit in a box. You either break the fucking box or you create a whole new universe outside the box. The box is not a construct at all in entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So at the time, I was really frustrated with a lot of different things. I'm one kasi to know where where I can push my influence and where I can change things versus where I cannot. And there were a lot of things na we're starting to pile up that I feel like I did not get to control. But at the time, I felt like I should just find something that I could fit into. And it was Miggy that helped me realize that, you're trying to find the in between of being your own boss and still working in a company, when in reality you just make the jump. There are no half steps here, parang ganon. So yun, parang that's when it is na, I think that's where my parang that's where it occurred to me that I couldn't fit in anymore, or I should not fit in anymore, and just take the plunge, right, and go all in on entrepreneurship. And funny enough, it was the wedding and it was getting married to Miggy that made me push that direction.
No, but that's good. And again, those are telltale signs that you need to make the jump now. Because if you start feeling like, why am I wasting my time? Like, there's so much. Is it worth it? Is this hustle worth it if in the end I'm boxed in or I'm shackled with so many things that I need to do? Those are the things that kind of was true. So, okay, you made the jump. There's this wedding, honeymoon period, but now reality kicks in. You're now on your own. What are the things you guys did? And again, of course, for full disclosure, there's Husky Digital. And again, Miggy was actually doing this pre-pandemic. I remember him doing BNI and all that. But with you joining the fray in Husky Digital, obviously, talk about first what is Husky Digital, and then eventually we'll talk about 10x Me.
Okay. Actually, wala kaming honeymoon na. Mag-honeymoon pa lang kami. So, after wedding, straight to business na.
Because money, baby. There you go.
So, I want to talk about Husky because that was the next thing I jumped into when we got married and entrepreneurship, right? So, it was time for me to join the family business. So Husky Digital is a creator commerce agency. We focus primarily on e-commerce brands, performance marketing, and we are a proud TikTok partner. We are a platinum tier TikTok partner, one of 3 or a handful lang in the Philippines. So it's something notable.
Okay, now I want to dive deep into this first, because is this also the first time that you actually worked full-time with each other, with Miggy? Now, okay, you can tell all the great things in from the outside point of view. What I know, in every single husband and wife tandem, there is a war. There's what was the struggles, and how did you overcome this tug of war, which will never end, by the way, because there's also a gray area there. The marriage also comes into play. There's marriage dynamics, and of course this business dynamics. But of course the result speaks for itself. But talk to us about that tug of war, or that tug that you guys do with me to make things work, and how did you find that equilibrium point, or that's the chill point to make things work and push it forward?
Yes, this is the first time that we work together full time. But we have done a lot of side hustles in the past. We counted actually just recently how many business ideas or how many things we launched in the past. No, we counted around 20, 25. Kasama dun, I don't know if you remember, but we had a weighted blanket sleep business in the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah, so stuff like that, right? We really wanted to get into e-commerce because we understood how much growth there was there. But anyway, this is the first time that we work together. And in terms of dynamics, I'd say we both are leaders. So that's a challenge and an advantage in itself. What's great about us is that we know when to let the other one lead and when to take the Robin role, Batman and Robin. That's something that we follow a lot. Right. So with Husky, Miggy is really the Batman and I'm the Robin. So when I joined Husky, my goal there was to explore other business opportunities we can take on. We were just about to start becoming more active on TikTok, because it was a trend. Here it is again, right? A trend that Miggy saw that he left behind. I mean, when Facebook and e-commerce happened, he was a little late to join those the hype of that, right? And the growth of that. So when he saw TikTok and the potential of TikTok to become the
Went
next
early.
social plus e-commerce platform, we really went all in. So my goal was to focus on the TikTok side of the business,
Yep.
while Miggy was managing pa rin the cash cow of the business, which was performance marketing with our clients.
Yep.
So I set up the TikTok side of things. In that same year, right, we got married Feb. In August, we were able to figure out how to do our live selling. How to do
Wow.
live selling, which was funny because TikTok didn't have any material around how to set up a quality live selling
Right.
situation. I think at the time he was talking to you also for studios, ganyan. That was something we were looking at. So that was my role in Husky. But in between that time that we were setting up TikTok, we were launching it, figuring out the best fit, what kind of products and solutions we were offering. We were looking at AI already because ChatGPT was already a thing at the time. So Feb 2023, ChatGPT launched November of the year before.
Nice.
Our team was using it. The earliest use cases of ChatGPT and AI were copywriting. So our team really enjoyed that. And at that, on part of the exploring business opportunities or things we can do, right, was what if we train people how to use AI tools specifically for marketing? And so that's where the story of 10x Me is start.
There. And again, my wife signed up as one of the cohort
Yes,
part
sir.
per se. But again, this is such an amazing thing because ChatGPT also, what I like about what you guys do, again, I now understand how Jerry taught you how to see trends before they even pop. I remember Sir Joji when I was like visiting him and it's like, Ron, why don't you help me? I obviously said no because I wanted to be a founder. What a dumbass I am. But I remember him like, hey, Ron, look, these are my cash cows. I have a random website that sells bath salts in the US. Like, what is a bath salt? Sir, what is a bath salt? They're like telling me about these bath salts. And that's an e-commerce, literally web 1.0 looking website. He's making, so I'm pretty sure that's also how Miggy found these weighted blanket thingamajigs that you guys are doing. But again, this uncanny ability now of spotting things before they pop and being first in the game to do it. I sort of did that too with chatbot. I didn't know shit about chatbots, bought the domain.
Yeah.
And then created a company out of it. Made an exit. Nice. Okay. But it's that formula, being early in the game, being the undisputed expert and making fast progress. That's the formula, right? But when you saw ChatGPT, why was an academy the play? Because a lot of people tried to create their own product. Blah, 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 GPT, blah, 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 whatever. But why was the academy the approach that you guys took?
Okay, so some more backstory on that. No, Miggy and I really love learning. We love learning with communities. With Husky Digital, it wasn't a new thing for us to have learning sessions and webinars.
Okay.
And so the idea behind it is that why don't we teach people or companies how to use AI? And the reason why an academy made sense was because for anything impactful that you do, it has to be on an institutional level, right? So we can do our small stuff. We can have hacks to do prompt engineering or whatnot, right? But I really believe that a driver of success or a metric of success would be how much impact institutionally you have done. So an academy was great because we did cohorts of students, aka these were business leaders, professionals, marketers, right? That would learn how to use AI tools, how to understand it, which is most important, right? And how it works. And go back to their organizations and tell them that this is the new way we should work. We should look at improving our workflows. And this is the outcome, right? We wanted to put that to the test na how much time would you save if you took this class? And how much value would this class give you back?
Right.
That's the name, 10x Me.
Nice. I love it. And then again, when they come back, they'll be the presumptive expert agad because they already know, oh, wow, you know how to use 11 Labs. You know how to use all these things, blah, blah, blah. You know, a Wall-E and all these things. Like, wow, you are the expert. But in reality, they supersize and they 10x their potential because they went to a synchronous environment where Sir Miggy who is by
Mhm.
default natural educator, will teach them how to Dougie. Technically, you
Yeah.
kids, you don't know what teach me how to Dougie is, but it was a thing in my.
I know.
No,
That
the
was my
kids that will
time.
listen to them,
Ah,
Dougie.
yeah.
Okay, there you go. All right, now let's take our last break, and when we come back, of course, we will now talk about, how 10x Me grew and how that 10x Me Academy became YGG Web3 Metaversity, and of course, talk about the exit. Well, let's talk about that more after the break.
Hey hustlers, wish there was an easy way to open a bank account and grow your money without the hassle of lengthy application process and income documents? Well, I got good news because today's sponsor, Uno Digital Bank, is here to help you achieve your financial goals. You can easily open an account with the Uno app in just 5 minutes and one valid ID. And as one of the 6 digital banks licensed by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the company is committed to providing customers with simpler, better, and more accessible banking. Last year, Uno Bank was recognized by the Asia Banking and Finance Awards and bagged the title Open Banking Initiative of the Year due to the success of its partnership with GCash, one of the Philippines' leading mobile wallet platforms. And with the Uno mobile app, you can access an hashtag Uno Ready savings account and enjoy daily interest crediting. With their hashtag Uno Earn or hashtag Uno Boost time deposit accounts, you can enjoy a high interest rate of up to 6.5% per annum. Enjoy monthly payouts with hashtag Uno Earn and flexible tenors with hashtag Uno Boost. Other app features include pay bills, the Uno Virtual Debit MasterCard, life insurance, scan and pay with QRPH, and loans. And the one thing that I really love about Uno Digital Bank is they're open to collaborate with a lot of Filipino startups. I've had a chance to see the partnerships that they've had lined up with the startups that they have, and it's truly exciting to see how a digital bank like Uno can enable startups to unlock the power of fintech through digital banking. So if you're ready to elevate your banking experience, download the Uno mobile app today from the Google Play Store or App Store. Or if you want to collaborate with them, I'll be happy to give you an intro. Just shoot us an email at hello@hustleshare.com. Hey hustlers, how many apps are you using at work these days? 5, 10, 20? Let's face it, there are chat apps for internal communication and emails for external, Cloud Drive for docs and wikis, calendars and video conferencing, spreadsheets and project management software, and probably yet another tool to connect them all. It is a mess. And if you're collaborating with cross-border colleagues, partners, or suppliers, it gets even more complicated. And don't you find it disruptive when your personal and business messages get mixed up? And if this sounds painfully familiar, switch to Lark, the leading super app for work designed to increase your team's productivity by 10x at an unbelievable fraction of the cost. With Lark, manage projects, chat with your team, build a knowledge base with wikis, and automate workflows such as approvals without code effortlessly from one app. No switching or integration needed. Join fast-growing companies in over 125 countries, including Xiaomi, Glint, and the Philippines' very own Kumu and Mama Luz, who trust Lark as their workplace super app. I've started using Lark myself for our pressure washing business service, Papa Pressure, and I'm totally loving it. Want to see how Lark can revolutionize your business? Click the link in the description or download Lark for free at larksuite.com. That's larksuite.com, the productivity super app every business needs.
And we're back from the break. We are still with Bianca Cruz Azurin, or Bianca Azurin na lang. Okay, it's not a long name, but to then talk about how 10x Me grew exponentially, and kind of talk about that trend of spotting a trend early, making tremendous impact, and then eventually we'll talk about the exit. So you did multiple cohorts, but what is the trend that you saw in 10x Me? Because I even remember last year you did a mini training. I was front and center in one of those classes in what's this? Ignite ba? Ignite. There, I remember.
Yeah.
What was the trend that you were seeing, and what was the feedback that you're getting out of these classes that you guys were running?
The first one we saw was the impact, really. It was still pretty new. A lot of people wanted to understand it, but more so the curiosity was there. And there wasn't a business use kasi pa for for using AI tools, right? It was all productivity individually, but the value we brought in was how do you bring this back to your business to tremendously improve your workflow, your productivity, right? So when our students came out of that class, of the cohort after they finished 4 weekends, right? They would always tell us that they found out something, that there was something more to just asking ChatGPT or generative AI tools to prompt for you. They really saw how this was a business decision that they needed to take.
Yep.
More than just using it for personal productivity, right? It's like you can compare kasi using ChatGPT and all of these AI tools now to deciding if you should have a Facebook page for your company. Parang before, it was something that you needed to decide on pa na, should I have a Facebook page, but I'm a B2B business. But now it's so obvious that you need to have Facebook, you need to have TikTok, no matter what business you're in, diba?
Yep.
So that was something that was really valuable to them. And the other trend that we saw, and a trend slash challenge, was that as much as we brought ambassadors, generative AI back to their businesses, to their organizations, right? The challenge there was that sometimes these delegates, these students, don't have as much influence to enforce such change back in their organization.
Maybe
So
they'll be a founder like Bianca Azurin.
they would be frustrated with the system and just build something else themselves. Yeah, so as much as the productivity was there in smaller groups, it would work. Some of them would go back and, not have as much influence to really implement something bigger for the whole organization to do. So we actually pivoted. We were looking at offering more corporate training. So instead of getting cohorts and having a schedule that we set, we moved into offering corporate trainings for companies, do it in-house in their venue or their office, so that the whole department would learn, or the whole management team executive team would understand it, right? And we'd get more influence and impact that way.
That is amazing. Now, okay, how did that turn into? Because I know you guys are obviously in the crypto space, but how did the early murmurings of what you guys are doing in corporate technically 10x into YGG? How did this deal come about?
So at the time that I joined Moneybees, we were already way deep into crypto.
I remember one term that I learned from you guys, and it made me feel young. LFG. LFG and
really?
What do you we're
WAGMI.
WAGMI. That's you guys. LFG and WAGMI. Thank you, Azurins, because I feel whenever I talk to fucking crypto guys, it's like, okay, how do I stay relevant with these fuckers? Okay, LFG, WAGMI. There you go.
Bro, that's how you know. So we have always been involved in crypto since then, like 2020. And so doing 10x Me, when we started, we wanted to be an education academy, corporate trainings, etc. But at the back of our minds, we were also looking at how can we turn this into a Web3 business? Because from all this that we've learned from our mentors in the space, both in Web2 and Web3, the best businesses would be not just cash flow businesses, but ones that would be liquid enough for founders to exit anytime. I won't rug pull or anything, but the Web3 business just has so much. Imagine mo, ang daming parang publicly listed companies. When you have a token, diba? Technically, you're publicly listed already. So you have so much runway and funding to support any initiative you have. So you were looking at how we can get there. So the first thing that we thought of was having an NFT that can be distributed as classrooms. So you can run 10x Me classes across the globe. But how we got into crypto was the year after. So 2024, at the start of 2024, a big trend in the Web3 space were all of these AI projects and AI tokens. And why is that the case now? If you think about it, ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, they're run by big tech companies. And with the trends, right, we've already seen that when a powerful piece of technology, especially with AI tools, right, AI in general, is just at the hands of a select group of people, it will pose problems. Like with Meta, as much as I love Facebook, the group of Meta, they have a lot of problems that they have not solved. They have not answered their questions yet.
Yeah.
And with the rise of AI, the challenge there is that we want to be able to decentralize all of this AI model training, decentralize the collection of data, and make it more transparent. So blockchain actually comes in to solve the problem of building AI models and AI solutions because it's more transparent, right? It's on the blockchain, and you can have people contribute to it and distribute the rewards or the fees involved to build that model. And so in that way, it's more diverse, right? Anyone can opt in if they wanted to, and anyone could look into it and see how it's made and how it was built.
That is amazing. Now,
Yeah.
okay, so with that said, all right, so you have this big opportunity, and again, you're totally right. Because if revolutionary tech like this, and again, this very very Web3 of you, you want to decentralize it, right? If you decentralize it, then more people can do more amazing things with it. But how did that turn into, okay, this is the trend, another trend you spotted or you started, but how did that turn into, if you from NFT into YGG Metaversity? I'm pretty sure there's a meeting of the mind somewhere in there, and all things aligned with another power couple and mentioned Gabby Dizon.
Yeah. So when we saw the trend with crypto, with AI in crypto, we realized that we were sitting on knowledge and programs and materials that we could make modular and share with all of these AI projects, right? So with AI kasi, there's no one way to do marketing, right? Or to onboard people, right? So the first iteration of that was that I partnered with a lot of big communities. YGG, of course, is on the top of that list.
Of course.
I told them that we would offer them AI training programs. In return, we would want access to their community through those training programs and have them do certain take on tasks or tests that would earn them rewards later on. So parang learn to earn yung model. Right? So you finish a course related to AI, and then after that you do a task and you get rewarded in crypto. So that's one side of it, right? So I partnered with a lot of these big Web3 communities. And the other side of it was I did so much BD work. I had a big database of all of the AI projects that had tokens.
Yeah.
And I approached them one by one to say, hey, we're an AI training company. We can do all of your onboarding materials for you. And we can help you find users. So that's where the communities come in. We can help you find users to try out your platform. In return, would you be willing to give them rewards in terms of crypto because they had tokens, right? So that was the next iteration and the Web3 iteration of 10xme that we were looking into. And at the time, I approached some of my mentors in the space. The YGG partnership, it really just started with a partnership where we were willing to offer prompt engineering classes to their community. But in the process, when we delivered our first class to Metaversity and YGG, they were really happy with the quality of work we had. And then it evolved into Mensch wanting to set up a meeting with me to see what other synergies we can do because they had a ready base of community members already, right? And we had all of this expertise in creating high quality programs in AI that we have done in the past and we can continue to do. So we were exploring how we can be more of value to each other. And so the talks progressed from there. When Mensch and Gabby were in the Philippines, in Cebu, during their road trip, we had the meeting and that's where we sealed the deal.
Nice. So the meeting was actually not the exploratory meeting. Basically, they already had conviction that, hey, why don't you join us? And we'd love to have 10xme part of Web3 of YGG. Was that the case?
There were previous meetings before that in-person
so
meeting.
Several things. Okay. So, all right. Personal question here. Because I still remember the day I got the offer. I was fundraising. So, got the offer for Chatbot PH naman. Okay. This is very, very early AI. The first wave.
Mm-hmm. OG.
I still remember, like, I was just fundraising and I got the offer na, hey, we'd love to acquire Chatbot PH. That moment, I remember my whole life flashback. I'm like, what the fuck? Finally, I'm going to be able to buy the first thing that came out, finally, I'm going to be able to buy my mom a house. I held it in. I didn't want to cry, but I still remember the joy that I felt. And I want that again with fucking PNA. Come on, PNA. We can do this. But I'm 5 years in. Today's our 5-year anniversary, right? I want one more.
Congrats.
And it's a feeling that if you get it, it's like winning a championship. You would want it again. I can't describe it. But how did yours feel?
Okay, funny story. So we had that meeting over breakfast in Cebu before the road
Cebu pa.
road trip.
Okay.
Oh, so we were in the breakfast buffet. We had a private room. So it was Mench, Gabby, Trish, Miggy, and myself. At the breakfast before the day started for the road trip. And we were meeting, just Gabby was telling us what his plans were, why AI was a big play for YGG, and how what we're doing fit in, right? We were doing that. We were talking about that. And then when we ended the meeting, he was like, we would want to invest in 10x Me and have you join our team. Yun. So parang...
That's what they do eh. They said they'll invest and then they will fucking acquire you pala.
So I forget the exact words, but there was a word, invest. We will invest in 10x Me and we want you to join our team. Something like that. So okay. And then we left na kami ni Miggy. So it was a long walk from where we were sitting to the elevator, and we were walking so stiffly, like hold it in, let's talk about it in the room.
Don't freak out.
So, we're like, oh my god.
That's how it feels.
And when we got back to our room, we were just jumping on our bed. That's how we celebrated. And it was just a moment of relief because I was really pushing at this for the last year. Yeah. And as much as we delivered a few cohorts, about multiple cohorts already, we had corporate training lined up.
Yep.
It was a really difficult push. That was my first year that I didn't have salary. I mean, it was just enough to cover the cohort cost, ganyan, but not enough for me to augment what I was earning before. And I was really pushing for this business model, not knowing where it would lead or if it would amount to anything. And when we just heard that, parang it validated us that, oh my God, we were onto something. We're onto something currently, right? And this is the moment of relief that, we knew we were right about this. I mean, the work still continues, right? We were acqui-hired. So it was an acquisition, plus they wanted to get us in to deliver the same high quality programs and have more impact internally. But it's amazing. It's a milestone.
It's like winning a championship. That's the exact feeling. You came from volleyball, diba? When you win, I've never won a championship in my varsity days. But the chase, it's like likened to that. No, you train so much, you get so pagod. It doesn't make sense. But in the end, it's a team sport. You want to win a championship. But when you win it, oh my.
Nothing compares.
Exactly. It's like you won in life. Literally. Now, when after, I remember I squealing like a little girl. I was like that every time, I'm going to say it too, but okay, I'm going to say it na nga, damn it. So, PNA, we were almost dead a lot of times. I've been open about this. But recently we were able to get funding also. Hey. And I squealed like a little girl and I cried like a little girl and all that. Like, oh my God. We finally have a chance again to redeem ourselves. At the end of this all, it was all worth it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, that's it. So after jumping and almost destroying your bed in the hotel, Miggy's mabigat. You're okay. Okay. Miggy's center of gravity is pretty big. It would have probably wrecked the whole bed. But what else did it feel like? Can you describe that moment? Because after it sinks in, there'll be like pinch me moment. Like, hala, is this real? What is that next pinch me moment when it came through?
So we definitely got tired after a few jumps and screaming like crazy.
Hey, you're a
And when
volleyball player. You should have more stamina than that, huh? Mhm.
And then after that, we got to settle in, and it just hit us that we were right about this. We were finally. The feeling felt like you wanted a break for so long, and it was finally given to you, and you can finally breathe.
Yes.
So that was just
After
that relief,
gasping
right?
for so long, right? Like and
Like
fighting for
water
thin
was
air.
always just here. You can finally just, diba? You can finally
Yeah.
just shucks, there's more runway. We can finally. At least for me, the feeling was, yeah, we were right. We will be acquired. There's an investment here, but more than that, it's the feeling that this mission that I really believe in, it will be amplified so much more because we have the infrastructure of YGG supporting us. And it's not just the Philippines that we have, right? YGG is a global company with a Filipino founder.
Yep.
And just that knowledge and understanding and the insights we have coming from the Philippines and being a global company.
Yep.
It's amazing. And I mean, there's so much work to be done, but
Yeah.
grabe.
I'm
Just break.
Super duper proud of you guys. But okay, last question before we wrap this baby up. Again, I still remember it, and during dark days, especially the past 18 months of PNA, I reminisce during those times. Like, you know what? I this is why I want that again, because it will keep pushing you. But during those days also where I got again my life flashback. And this is my last question. I've never asked this. But if I lent you the Hustleshare time machine, and I wish Miggy was here, and you'll have an opportunity to talk to Jerry again and Sir Georgie, what would you tell them after this moment?
Okay. This is gonna get emotional. I actually still message my dad Facebook Messenger from time to time. And one thing to note about my dad, he's my biggest supporter. But he still talks a lot of flack
Yeah.
about
Sure,
me and
worst
what
critic.
I do. And well, yeah, right. The best cheerleader and the worst critic. Next to myself, I would tell him what just happened, and I think more than just telling him what I'd want to hear would be him saying na sabi ko sa'yo parang ganon. That would be something I look forward to na see if you stick it out, or sabi ko sa'yo, you could do so much better. Dapat you started it sooner. He would have said that. And of course, he'd congratulate me all around. I mean, it's more, when I get that opportunity, it's more me wanting to hear from him than me wanting to tell him what's been up and all.
But I'm pretty sure, if he can't say it verbally now, I'm pretty sure he's also jumping in his bed somewhere. And he's extremely proud of you guys. The same way Sir Georgie is extremely proud of what he calls the best version of him, which is me. Again, this is absolutely beautiful. And thank you so much, Bianca, for sharing your amazing story. This is just the beginning. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have you guys back, because what you guys are about to do with YGG and everything else is going to be extremely amazing. But before I let you go, what's up with you guys next? And if they want to work with you, what should they look out for in YGG Metaversity?
Sure. So a big, our flagship program under the Web3 Metaversity is called the Marshall Program. So for the next season, we're actually integrating a lot more AI classes into that. So apart from picking up skills that can get you jobs in Web3 gaming or in crypto, part of that is you learning how to up yourself more with AI skills. So that's one. And for Miggy, I can talk on his behalf, right? For Husky Digital, that's still something that's happening for us. He's leading that ship for us. You can expect more growth on TikTok for the brands that we manage. And we're actually looking to manage our own skincare and retail brands. So watch out for that.
Skincare, Miggy Beauty is gonna.
Yeah, so that's the next exit you should look out for,
Oh, there
hopefully.
you go. Miggy Beauty is coming out. But again, Bianca, thank you very much. But before I let you go, follow us on whatever podcast app you're listening to, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if we also did say some jargon, it's going to be the show notes on hustleshare.com. And if you also want to support Hustleshare, just like the brands that keep the lights on for this podcast 5+ years on, please do support us at premium.hustleshare.com. Again, Bianca, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Ron, for having me. Great to be here.
All right. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.